everybody, Chad here. In this video, we're going to talk about or discuss how to rent a condo in Thailand. More so, how do I get the best price renting that condo? That's what we all want to know. How do we get the best price? I don't want to pay a Farang price if I live in Thailand. I don't want to pay a Farang price if I live 1 year in Thailand. Okay, so how do you rent a condo? What some of the drawbacks come with it, okay, being a Farang, being a foreigner, and how do I get a great price doing it? Okay, and I'm gonna keep this short, sweet, to the point. Try to anyway. I'm gonna do a series on this because there's several things we could talk about. I don't want this video to be 60 minutes. So other than that, let's rock it and roll. So before we get started, I'm gonna tell you right up front so I don't waste your time. This is what we're gonna talk about. How to get the best price. It's really gonna depend upon low season, high season. It's gonna depend upon how long you are staying. Okay, you're staying short time. You're staying kind of a short stay or long stay. Okay, you're staying a couple weeks, a month, or a few months versus a year. That's going to determine things. Sometimes prices don't shift, and it's going to determine how you pay. Bottom line, okay? You just, for example, are you renting monthly? You want to pay monthly because you don't trust them? Okay, you're not going to get it as good of a deal. Or do I come in and I pay for the whole year up front? Okay, so those are the things we're really going to discuss here today. That might have helped you out. You might have moved on. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. If you want to stick around, and let's get rocking and rolling. Now, before we get started, I used to own a high luxury condo in the Philippines. Okay, so I do have some experience. And with that, you might say, well, Chad, no, the Philippines is different from Thailand. In a mentality, the way of living, no. I mean, yes, the Philippines does, if you look at money-wise, does peso, the Thailand does baht, but as far as the exchange rate, coming from the country, it's very, very, very similar. The style of living is very, very similar. If you buy or rent a condo in both countries, it's really very, very similar. Okay, different ways to go about it, but very similar, just, psychology of renting and getting the best price. Okay, so that being said, I do have some experience, and I used to live in Thailand for 1 year, so I have that experience as well, and I love to travel. Okay, I've probably traveled way more than the average person, at least, saying that. That being said, okay, now with Thailand, one of the things you have to understand, if you're new to Thailand, okay, you've never been to Thailand before, you've never been to Asia before, the same way in the Philippines, okay, is coming from the US, coming from the UK, Europe, okay, you're going to be probably used to having a big house, okay, you're going to be used to, even if you live in an apartment, a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, the apartments are pretty big in the United States. Even if you have a condo, condos are pretty big, pretty spacious. I mean, I've seen some condos, and I used to live in California for 18, 19 years. I mean, luxury condos it's a size, almost the size of a flipping house. Okay, you can rent duplexes. You have 3 floors. You know what I mean? You can rent some very, very spacious places if you're coming from the United States, UK, Europe, so forth and so forth. So that being said, okay, it might be a culture shock for you when you're like, oh, I want to stay a long stay in Thailand. Oh, I want to go for 3 months, or I want to retire in Thailand. It could be a culture shock for you if you've never been there, because you go there, and the first time you go there, you start looking at condos, places to rent, not resorts anyway. Now you're kind of staying away from resorts at this point. You're just looking at condos. You first walk in and start looking at them. It's culture shock. You know what I mean? Like, they're very, very small. I mean, if they're showing you video online, video on YouTube, it looks big in the video, okay? You think, oh, that kind of looks big. But in person, it's very, very small, okay? Compared to what you're used to. A lot of condos, okay, don't come with kitchens. Like in Thailand, Thai culture, kitchens aren't very popular, okay? Like, they might have just a little, if you're from Thailand, or if you live there, they might just have a little burner, to cook on. It's like a portable burner that we in the States we would buy when we want to go camping. That's what they use, like a portable burner, to cook. Their refrigerator is usually just one of those, when I went to college, I had one, those little like box fridges, you put in your dorm, okay? Or if you Or if you go camping, you take with you, if you have a camper or something like that, these little just box fridges, that's what they use. I mean, some of them will come with, I think the camera's crooked. Some of them will come with, those bigger box fridges that, stand so tall. It's not a, I don't want to say it's not a real refrigerator, but it's those really tiny box fridges. So that's what they use. And, when you first time you see it, you're kind of just like, what, really? That's all I get. That's there's no kitchen here. No, nothing. Like, it's just like a flipping room. You might have two rooms. That's kind of a culture shock. Now you can find, there are places with kitchens and stuff like that. But if you get a kitchen, it might not be as big as you're used to. Okay. Now for me, I would search for a kitchen, some type of kitchen or something. Okay. Just for myself. Okay. That's what I'm used to. You can find it, yes, okay. But just for like Thai living, it can be a little culture shock. That being said, after you get kind of over that, let's kind of jump into high season, low season. Now, it's really going to depend upon when you come to Thailand, okay? Okay, if you come during peak season is usually between November to February. That's usually peak season. Or high season. Then they have what's called peak season. Peak season is the prices get very, very expensive for Thailand. That's really usually around the holidays. December, January, because you have Christmas and New Year's, Thanksgiving. Those usually get even more expensive. So you have high season around November-ish to February. Then peak season is December, January, kind of like when Thanksgiving starts happening, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. That's usually peak season. So if you come around those times, you're going to expect, you're kind of going to expect to pay. Not saying you can't get a good deal. You can get a good deal for peak season, okay? But remember, it's not going to be like you're in low season, okay? Now, low season is usually in between that. Low season kind of starts, in my experience, around June. And low season can run between June to about September-ish, okay? Then you're kind of seeing October, things will start picking up. Reason it's low season, okay, if you haven't been to Asia, Thailand before, it rains a lot. Depending upon where you are. If you're in Phuket rains a lot, okay, from like June to like the end of September, okay. When I lived there for 1 year, and I can remember in October it rained almost every other day, okay. When I hit November, all the locals are telling me, oh, the rain will stop in November. The first half of November, it rained flipping every single day. Sometimes all day long, it didn't stop, and it's a pouring rain, okay? It's not just like a little sprinkle. But that's why it's low season, because it rains a lot. It's like rainy season, okay? So a lot of tourists, if you're gonna go there for 2 weeks or a month, you don't wanna go there and it flipping rains all day long, okay? And it kind of destroys your vacation in a little bit, depending upon why you're going. Okay, now that being said, that's kind of the differences, okay? But it's going to be a price difference as well. From low season to peak season, low season to high season, you can kind of expect to pay at least double, if not triple, if not quadruple. And if you don't believe me, if you want to comment like, no, fake news, that means you've never been to Thailand, okay? Prices can flipping triple, quadruple. They're put the price as high as they can if you're willing to pay it. Okay, that's Farang price, baby. Farang is a foreigner, that's tourist price. Resorts do it, condos do it. Another thing to look out for when we're talking in this parameter is when it's peak season, condos and resorts, their prices are very, very close together. A condo would be a tiny bit cheaper than a resort, okay? But it's gonna, people renting out the condos, if they know resorts going for 2,000 baht a night, okay, a condo, they might try to say, oh, our condo's 1,500 baht a night. They're just trying to make as much money as possible, okay? And that's what happened to me in Phuket. Like, I was staying at the Adamatra, that's That's a kind of like a luxury resort. It's a huge resort, by the way. You know, it was a nice experience. It was a cool resort. Didn't really have any issues. Stayed there for like 8 months or something like that, only in that resort. But I started there with low season. Okay, and I started there actually during the sandbox program. Okay, and I'll give you the prices. You know, when I first started there, I paid $250. Okay, and I think I paid at the time. I think I paid $200 or $250 for 2 weeks. Because that's the deal you had to do with the sandbox program. After that, I paid roughly about $350 to $400 a month to stay. That's USD. Okay. Then once they started going into about November, okay, again, high season, it went from me paying about $400 a month that now I'm paying about $1,100 a month. So it basically almost tripled. Okay, now I'm paying 3 times what I used to pay. Okay, it was kind of comical around that time because I found this really cool, like it was all glass, luxury condo. It was really short. It was a duplex. It wasn't a huge high-end condo. It was duplexes with 3 floors. Okay, it was badass. Okay, I went and saw pictures, and at the time they wanted 12,000 baht for the whole month. Okay, but I'm staying in Atamatra. I'm staying in a resort, so I had a little bit more amenities than this one. Now this one, the condo is way nicer. Okay, but they wanted 12,000 baht. So I think at the time I was paying about 15,000 baht at the resort. So I'm thinking, well, for 3,000 more baht, I'm getting 3 pools. I'm getting a fitness center. I'm getting a great buffet breakfast, and I'm getting more amenities. So basically, I chose to stay at the condo and I'd stay at the resort. Okay, but when peak season happened, I kind of started changing my mind. I was like, oh, I'm kind of tired of staying at a resort. I want to stay in a condo. So I remember this badass condo I saw. So then I contacted him, still had him on Messenger. I was like, hey, are you still renting? Okay, I'll rent long-term from you. Okay. And he said, no, we only do short stay now. Okay. So we don't do long-term, okay, anymore. And the reason why he said that is because they know renting these condos when it's peak season, okay, high season, is they're trying to rent it out nightly. Okay, so he's like, if you want to stay, you can stay here, but it's going to be, I think it was around, 1,500 baht, 1,800 baht per night. Per night, okay, when it was 12,000 baht for the whole month. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that was a learning experience for me, just being there. How the prices would just skyrocket because people owning these condos, when it goes into peak season, they're treating these condos just like a vacation rental. They want to make the most money. So how they see it, they're going to make the most money by someone staying a couple of days, someone staying a week. Okay, so they don't want to deal with Chad. I want to stay a year. So they know I'm going to go in and negotiate down. Okay, so that's why I tell you, it depends upon when you go. Okay, it depends upon when you want to come to Thailand. Okay, how the best deal you're going to get. Low season versus high season. Now, you might sit there and say, well, Chad, okay, what would you do if you went in high season? Now, I'm going to go back to Thailand, but I think kind of roughly now I'm going to go back during low season. So I'll be there during low season. So you have to remember, low season, you're going to get the best deals. If you go there, happen to go there during high season, and you know you're going to stay a year, you're not only staying a couple weeks, okay? What I would do is, if you can wait it out, you can look around. You've never been to Thailand before. You can kind of, go to different areas, see what you like best. Okay. Once you know where you want to plant your flag, at least a year, or at least 6 months to a year, then at that point you can start looking around. Don't jump on your very first offer. Okay. Bottom line, because you might not get the best deal. Okay, look around. Okay, kind of shop around a little bit. Don't be so impatient. Okay, you can find cheaper places to rent while you're doing this. Okay, you don't need to live in a luxury condo unless that's what you want to do. You don't need to live, a luxury resort. Okay, you can find cheap places, just short, a short stay, really cheap, just depending upon your lifestyle while you're kind of looking around, okay, for a very luxury condo, a high-end condo, okay? That's what I would do if I was in high season versus low season. If I was kind of adapting from high season, I was moving into low season, okay, I would be preparing. I would be looking, knowing where I want to go. Once low season hit, I would go to that condo and negotiate. Okay. Now, when you go to the condos and negotiate, okay, this is where we're going to have some fun here. Kind of fun. It really depends upon how long you're staying, like a short, you're staying a short stay versus long stay. Okay, this is what I learned like when I lived in Phuket. Is lots of times you go into these condos and they're charging, even if you stay a long stay, they're charging you the same. And I'll show you the trick here. Is in the States, it's different. Like in the States, if you rent an apartment, rent a condo, they want first month and last month, or they want first month and security deposit. They just want two things. Okay, that's pretty standard in the United States. In Thailand, you can get that in Thailand, but what's kind of more popular in Thailand now is they want first month and last month rent. And on top of that, they want 2 months of security deposit. Sometimes the security deposit, all the time the security deposit is the same as your monthly rent. Sometimes it's more. Sometimes they want more than your monthly rent for 2 months. Okay. I mean, at first when I looked at that, I was like, dude, that's a scam. I'm not gonna go in and pay you 2 months security deposit plus my first and last month rent when I know I'm not gonna get back those 2 months of security deposit. Now, some will give it back and some won't. This is how they look at it in Thai. Okay. Thailand, no matter if you didn't break anything, you didn't do nothing wrong, you kept to your lease the whole time. Lots of times they won't give it back because they look at it as, okay, when you move out, it might take me a month or two to rent the place again or find somebody else to rent. So I might go 1 or 2 months without having income coming in. So that's what they do with your security deposit. So lots of times you won't get it back. I'm not saying you won't ever get it back. Lots of times you don't give it back. So when you give a security deposit in Thailand, you really have to have a mentality, I'm not gonna get this money back. Okay. Now, if they give it back to you, give you half back, hey, that's great. But, that's going to save a lot of frustration if you think they're going to give it. If you think you're from the States or you're from Europe or whatever, where they give it back all the time, they won't give it back because they're just come up with an excuse. And their main excuse is, well, when you move out, I can't find anybody in 1 day. You know what I mean? I'm going to go, it might be a month or two before I can rent it again. So, that keeps money coming in. That's what your security deposit is used for. You might agree with that, not agree with it, but that's how it is. Okay. That was kind of a little bit of a shock to me, kind of how they did it. I didn't really like it. Now, how to kind of get around that, okay, is there's a difference between, it's kind of both, okay, short stay, long stay. It's kind of both, okay? Even if you go with long stay, you want to stay a year, but you want to pay monthly, okay? You're not going to get the best deal, okay? They might go down a little bit, but if you want to pay monthly, they usually do the same thing, okay? They usually say, okay, first month, last month, and 2 months security deposit. Because the reason why they're doing that also, and I forgot to tell you, is a lot of foreign, a lot of tourists, they know they're a tourist, of course. They know they don't live in Thailand. They're not legally bound to Thailand, okay? So what that means is you have a lot of tourists break their leases. They just, they sign a lease, whatever, then they don't want to stay there no more. They just break it and move someplace else in Thailand, or they break it and move back to their country, or break it and go back to their country, and they're out of their lease. There's nothing they can do in Thailand, okay? So a lot of people would do that. That's why they charge you the 2 month security. That's why they ask for that, because a lot of foreigner would do that. They'll just break the leases because, they think there's no, Thailand can't legally hold you to it like they would in the United States. If I break my lease in the United States, well, they're going to take me to court. You know what I mean? So in Thailand, they think it's a loophole. But I don't have to, I can just sign. I don't have to, if I want to change my mind, I'll just change my mind. The same thing if you rent a motorbike. Sometimes foraying is just awful in Thailand. They rent a motorbike, then besides returning their motorbike, they drive their motorbike to the airport, just ditch it at the airport and get on a plane and leave. Then now, like when you go and try to rent a motorbike, you have to give your passport. Like a lot of places won't rent a motorbike to you unless you give your passport. So they want to make sure they get that motorbike back. Just how, just kind of what's going on. It's kind of crappy for a tourist to do that, crappy for a foreign, but But that's why when you rent a condo, that's why they ask for more money up front, because they think you're going to break your lease. They think you just, if you don't want to stay there, you're just going to break it and go on, move on. And you kind of screwed them, leave them like, you leave them high and dry type of thing. That's why they do that also. So now, how do you get the best price in here? Okay, now what I would do and what I would be prepared to do, okay, financially prepared, is if I know I want to stay 1 year, okay, and I pick my place, I know I want to stay, I know, oh yeah, I want to stay here at least a year. I found my place, I'm going to pay up front for the whole year. Okay, that gives me negotiating power, okay, at that point. Okay, so when I go in, I really love the place. I looked at it. I've been seeking it out. Now all of a sudden it's within my price range or it's within a good price range. It's not a tourist price. Okay, it's within a reasonable price range. Okay, and as an investment price range, even if you're renting, then that's when I'm gonna go in. Or I might just keep up with them. You know what I mean? Kind of create not a relationship, not a sexual relationship with them, but a business relationship with them. Once they get to know you more, sometimes they can trust you. And sometimes I would do that, keep up with them, message them or whatever. What's popular in Thailand, either they use Line a lot, the Line app, they use WhatsApp. Those are the most popular. Sometimes they use the Facebook Messenger, but most of the time Line and WhatsApp. So lots of times, if I really love the place, sometimes I'll keep on top of the either the person at the office or the person that's renting it or in control of renting that unit. Okay, it's just like with, in sales, just in sales in general, building a business in general, building connections and rapport with people. I mean, the better rapport you have, the more they trust you, the better price you get. Bottom line, okay? So that being said, financially speaking, I would go in and pay for the whole year. That's how I'm going to get the best price, bottom line. And I'll tell you kind of a good price to kind of go in with, but that's going to skip over a lot of stuff. For one, when they want 2 months, first and last month, it covers that because I paid for the whole year. When they want 2 months security deposit, most of the time, if I pay for the whole year up front, they might not even take a security deposit. Okay, or they just take 1 month. If I pay, I would say, oh, okay, I'll be fair with you. I don't want to pay 2 up front, but I'll give you 1 month. Okay, security deposit, but I'll pay for the whole year up front. They're taking it because they got my money all up front. They don't have to worry about Chad breaking his lease. They don't have to worry about Chad breaking lease and going back home. They got all their money up front. They're laying back. Okay, and they don't have to, their worries are done because I paid them all up front. Okay, that's how you really gonna get the best deal. That's how, what they want as a short stay, only for a couple weeks or a month. I stay for a year. That's how that price is gonna go down. Okay, that negotiating price is gonna go down, just because I'm paying for the whole year. That might not be what you want to hear. I'm not saying you're not going to get good prices. You are, if you don't want to pay for the whole year up front. You will, sometimes you get lucky, you get it right away. Sometimes you have to kind of be patient and look and search. But your very best prices is going to be going in for the whole year, paying the whole year up front, baby. But that being said, that's how you're going to get the best prices. And I'll kind of recap on this. It's really going to be what season you're going in, high season versus low season. If you happen to go into high season, I would just be patient, rent someplace cheap as I can, and then look around where I want to stay. You might move around Thailand to see what place you want to stay. Once you focus in on it, you know where you're going to stay. You can talk to that place right out front and kind of see what their prices are, see kind of how they're working with you. If you think it's too high, you think it's high season, it's too high, they're still trying to treat that condo like a short stay. They're still trying to treat that condo like a hotel. That's usually what they try to do in peak season. They treat their condo like an in-and-out hotel. If they're still kind of doing that, you're going to have to, if that's the place you really want to stay, you're going to have to wait for low season. Okay, or develop kind of a business relationship with them over time. And that kind of takes a little bit of time too, before they start giving you a better price. Then at that point, you can determine, hey, am I going to pay every month, or I'm going to pay a lump sum, pay for the whole year up front? You're going to get the best deal paying for a lump sum, paying for the whole year up front. That's how you're going to get the best deal. Because the way they look at it, again, if you pay monthly, you come in and say, no, I don't want to pay all up front, I want to pay monthly. The way they look at it is you're going to break your lease and you're going to jump. You might stay a couple months or 3 months, then you're gonna say, nah, I want to go back home now. I want to fly to the Philippines now. I want to go someplace else in Thailand. And you're just gonna break your lease because you're a foreigner. You think you're not legally bound to anything. They can't take you to court in Thailand. So I mean, they can, but they can do other things. We'll talk about that later. But you think they can't, and then you break your lease and go someplace else. So you kind of, screw them. That's why they ask for more. When you do short pay monthly, they ask for more up front. They ask for more security deposit and stuff like that, versus if you just pay one lump, they got their money for the whole year. Now, what's kind of a good price? Okay, my experience with, Philippines, experience with Thailand, I lived in Thailand for a year. What's really a good price? Okay, and this is where I kind of got disgusted. Sometimes I'll get on YouTube, I'll see videos with Bangkok. I see people do videos about renting condos, electric condos in Bangkok. And like I said in the beginning of my video, they're like $1,500, $1,800, not bought. Okay, $2,000, okay, a month in Bangkok. Those are just, honestly, just rip-off prices. I mean, they're foreign price, they're tourist price. That is not a Thai price at flippin' all. Okay, I mean, when I lived in California, like I said, California rents, I lived in a luxury condo, a luxury apartment in California. My rent was $2,300. It came with an excellent, dude, it had a pool, spa, an excellent fitness center. I like to lift weights, so I had an excellent fitness center. It just didn't have a couple treadmills in there. An excellent fitness center, had a business center, computers, you can go down and work. Dude, it was excellent. It was brand new, $2,300. So why am I gonna pay the same when I go to Bangkok, when it's Asia? Okay, it makes no sense. And then the luxury isn't the same luxury I'm coming from the United States. It's kind of down a little bit. Sometimes there are fitness centers or just a couple treadmills. I mean, sometimes they don't keep the pool clean. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes their amenities, they're closed down. They'll have them, but they don't have the staff. This happened too in Thailand. They don't have the staff to run those amenities, so they just shut the amenities down. And you're staying there, you're paying good money, and they just shut everything down because they don't have the staff to run it. Or they choose not to have the staff to run it. That happens sometimes in Thailand. So these are just ridiculous prices. And when people make these videos, I mean, you have to understand, like, real estate in Thailand, when someone's renting you a condo, it won't be, what will happen is maybe a person will own, or an investor will own several condos or several condo units, but then a real estate person will come in and they'll help that person rent out that condo. Okay, so they're not making money per hour, they're making money on commission. So that's why they charge you this high rate at foreign price, because your rent for the month, a big portion of that is going to a commission to the real estate person that found you to refer you to that condo. So they're getting a commission off that. Okay, if you pay for the whole year, they get a big chunk of that. You pay monthly, they're getting a commission every single month from your rent. So that's what they do, but it's not a good investment. You're being ripped off pretty much. Not even, and that's just the BS of it. You are being ripped off. If you want to pay $1,800, $2,000 for a condo in Thailand, go do it. It's not my money. You know what I mean? I get a better deal. Now, what should you be paying? Okay, if you get a really good deal, this is what you should be paying for a luxury condo, not just a hole in the wall. Okay, some condos are so dirty. Some condos, the building's so old. But for a luxury condo, you should be paying anywhere between $300 to about $500 US dollars. Okay, you can do the conversion. Okay, about 300 is about 10,000 baht. So you put another 200 with it, you got about 500 is about 15,000 baht as far as the US conversion per month. So anywhere between 10,000 to 15,000 baht per month for a high-end luxury condo. And 500 would be my max. Okay, you're gonna be more down to 300, 350. It might even drop to 250 to 280, something around in there for a high-end luxury condo. That's real price. Okay, that's really the price you want to be going for. That's really the price you want to be going for. Hey, if I come in, I'll come in lump sum. I pay upfront and full for the whole year. That's what I'm trying to negotiate is $300 a month. Okay. And it just depends upon where they're starting. If they'll come down that, you know what I mean? If they think, oh, I'm a stereotypical Frank, don't know anything, they're going to start, you're going to be way up here, then, we need to come way down there. So it really just depends. But that's really a real price, an investment price that I would go after. The 300 to 500. 500 would be my max. But I'm going to aim for that 300. I'm going to aim for that 10,000 baht. Because I had a friend when I was staying at my resort, and at the time during peak season, my resort was about 30,000, 35,000 baht per month. My friend, now he wasn't staying in Phuket, he was staying someplace else in Thailand, but a tourist area. He was paying 10,000 baht. You know what I mean? He was doing it during peak season. I mean, I was in January, he was in January, he's paying 10,000 baht, and I was paying around 35,000. So, you can find stuff in peak season, but you have to know, the more you go to Thailand, the more experience you have. Okay. You know places, to look around, you kind of know the game a little bit better, and so forth and so forth. And it's always going to determine, okay, what do you want? What type of lifestyle do you want? Some people love to stay in resorts and that's it. I get my room cleaned every day and blah, blah, blah. Once you get tired of resorts, you kind of venture out and want to get a condo. You know what I mean? But that's really my price, between 300 to 500. And that's really the same price in the Philippines. You went to the Philippines, you can get rent a very, very, very high-end condo. Okay. Same with Thailand. Now, I mean a high-end condo in Thailand where you need a key card to get in. Everything's brand new. They have a gorgeous reception area. They have 2-3 pools. They have a spa, a fabulous fitness center, not just 2 treadmills. They show you a little video of 2 treadmills and they pretend it's a great big fitness center. And you see it in person, you're like, really? They got a whole weight rack to lift. I mean, it's luxury. What luxury really stands for, you should be able to get for $300. Okay. And you might have to wait for low season. You might have to wait where you can go in for the lump sum. I can pay a year up front because that's where I know I want to stay for at least a year. So I'll pay a year up front. And once they know you're kind of that one, then you can start negotiating. But those are the prices. You might agree with me and not agree with me. You might go to Thailand. It's very expensive. When I lived in Phuket, the thing is that Phuket is very expensive, okay, for Farang. I mean, I was spending, probably when I lived there for a year, I was roughly spending, and I wasn't being cheap, okay, but I was being cautious a little bit. I wasn't being wild with my money, okay, and I was spending about 1,100, 1,200 a month for the resort. Then I was spending another 1,000 on food and just like various stuff. But mainly food, going out to eat, ordering Grab, if I needed to go to 7-Eleven, buy deodorant and stuff like that, about 1,000. So I was spending roughly around $2,200, okay, to live in Phuket for a year. And I was kind of being, I wasn't being super cheap, but I wasn't going wild either. I wasn't going out every single night. I kind of treated it like I lived there. So now if you were going out every single night for a year, going out, eating and drinking every single night, that's really going to go up. So that was my budget when I lived there, about $2,200. And my budget was actually higher because I am an entrepreneur, so I have other business expenses that come out, but not everybody has those expenses. So just to kind of stay in Thailand and give you a rough estimate what I was spending, about $2,200. That paid for, that paid for my health insurance, that paid for my phone plan, my Thai phone, my Thai SIM card, and, laundry, stuff like that. And I was kind of living kind of moderate. I ate out every day, but lots of times I would go Thai local, pay 50 baht for a soup. Sometimes I would eat, I would always eat at tourist places as well, but I would always like to go into provinces and look around and stuff like that. But you can, if you want to go there to blow money, go out and party every night for a whole year, you're going to spend some money. You are. I mean, that's just bottom line. But that's what I was spending when I lived in Thailand. When I lived in Thailand for a year, I was spending about $2,200 a month. And I was kind of living kind of moderate. You know what I mean? I was living in a luxury resort, but I was living kind of moderate. But that's what I was spending. But other than that, my friends, I'm just kind of rambling on and on and on. But that's what I wanted to share with you. And I'll do other videos, part 2, part 3, the kind of different topics on how, you know, where to go, search, get best prices. But that's really the basics is, okay, are you going to high season, low season? Okay, how long are you going to stay? Okay, are you going to pay monthly, or are you going to come in and pay the lump sum? The best deals are going to be a lump sum. If you know, now if you're going to pay a lump sum, you need to be financially prepared to be able to do that. Okay, now a lump sum, if I pay $300 a month, that's $3,600. So you know, then they might charge me maybe a 1 month security deposit, so around $3,800 for a $300 a month budget. So, you know, you roughly have to come in with $4,000 right up front, but that pays for your rent for the whole year. Okay, but just be prepared for that if that's what you want to do to get the best deals, to have the best negotiating power as lump sum. You know what I mean? So you just want to make sure that you have that money, or you might have that money in savings, but you might not be prepared like, oh, I want to pay monthly. I don't want to pay a lump sum, because you might not trust. You know what I mean? So if you pay monthly, you might not get the best deals. I mean, you'll get a good deal. You can still get good deals. I'm not saying that. You can still get a good deal if you look around to pay monthly, but you know, they might deal with you a little bit better. Hey, I'll pay you a lump sum. Okay. Because they got their money up front. They don't have to worry about you. They don't have to worry about chasing you for money. They don't have to worry about you breaking your lease and going someplace else and they can't find you, and you block them on WhatsApp and you block them on Line app. You know what I mean? So other than that being said, hopefully that helped. I kind of rambled. You know, I kind of talked way longer than I wanted to. But anyway, there's more to come, and hang in there. Hopefully this video helped. Thank you.